Hi guys, how are you this evening? Today in the book Illegal Prayers, he starts in talking about Luke's two parables on prayer. We are about to take an in-depth look at one of Jesus' parables on prayer, the parable in Luke chapter 11 verses 5 through 8 of the friend who needed 3 loaves of bread. Actually, Jesus gave 2 parables on prayer that are uniquely recorded by Luke. He told the parable of the friend who needed bread at midnight. Then in Luke 18, 1 through 8, he told the parable of the persistent widow who unceasingly cried to her judge for justice from her adversary. If I were to summarize the message of the parable on the persistent widow, it would be this: how to pray when God's taking a long time to answer. One of the most common questions in our human experience is, why does God sometimes take forever to answer our prayers? Jesus' parable in Luke 18 tackles that question head on. It shows that the delay provides the basis for him to do much more for us than he had if he had answered the prayer immediately. In contrast, I would summarize the message of Luke 11 parable in this manner: how to pray when you need an answer now. Both stories look at the diamond of prayer from 2 vantages that are so different they almost appear paradoxical. Luke 18 prepares us to persevere long term while the answer is being delayed, while Luke 11 shows us how to receive an immediate answer when a delay simply won't do. To understand the fullness of prayer, we need to see what Jesus was saying in both pieces. The message of Luke 18 parable has been so significant for me personally that I devoted an entire book to excavating its message. See my book entitled Unrelenting Prayer. And now I devote this present book to the Luke 11 parable. Luke 18 will show you how to posture your heart when God isn't answering you right now. Luke 11 will show you how to posture your heart when you must have an answer right now. And yet, even though both parables come at prayer from different angles, the common thread in both is that Jesus is teaching us how to obtain answers to prayer. Do you need an immediate answer from God? My goodness, this day and age, I think we all do. And join me on this quest to meet Christ in the garden of answered prayer. Our guide from here on will be the words of Jesus himself. Okay, so I'm going to see how long the next... Okay, I'm going to start in. This is chapter 2, Painting the Parables scenario. Bill's wife, Jen, suddenly came down with cancer. The doctors diagnosed it as an extremely aggressive type, and Jen was given just weeks to live. Through previous challenges, Bill had learned to persevere in faith through a sustained trial. He knew what it was like to be excavated and changed in the refiner's fire, and then to come through in God's time to answered prayer. In other words, he was exercised in the kind of faith that waits on God long term until the promise is fulfilled. See Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36. But this was different. This cancer did not provide room for a 10-year journey in God. It was a killer with a very short fuse. They had just weeks. Bill needed to find a different way to pray. Thankfully, in a parable recorded by Luke, Jesus taught us how to pray in circumstances that necessitate an immediate answer. Teach us to pray. After Jesus had finished praying in a certain place, his disciples asked him, "Lord, teach us to pray as John also taught his disciples." Luke 11:1. And Jesus' prayer life had gripped them with its passion and substance, and they wanted to know how to have the same kind of connection with God. In response, Jesus gave them the Our Father prayer. Then he immediately launched into a parable. The parable was crafted carefully to illustrate how we should pray. With this parable, Jesus basically said, "I'm glad to answer your question. Let me show you how I pray to the Father." Okay, it's kind of long, so I'm just going to go into it a little bit here. Be warned, some of the implications of this parable are so astonishing that we might be tempted to consider them almost sacrilegious, except that they come directly from the lips of the Master himself. So fasten your seatbelt. Jesus is about to teach us to pray. Here's what he said to his disciples: "Which of you shall have a friend and go to him at midnight and say to him, 'Friend, Lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine has come to me on this journey, and I have nothing to set before him. And he will answer from within and say, Do not trouble me, the door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise and give it to you. I say to you, though we will not rise and give it to him because he is his friend, yet because of his persistence, he will rise and give him as many as he needs. So I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, it will be opened. Luke 11, verses 5 through 10. Okay, I will go into the next part tomorrow, but remember, persistent prayer. Go over that last parable again where Jesus told them how to be persistent. God bless you guys. Have a great night. And don't forget to say your prayers.